Hi everyone, welcome to another video at Lifeasamedstudent. My name's Nabeel and I'm a final year medical student studying in the UK. In this video I'm going to be sharing my first week impressions of this 2020 M1 MacBook Air, which if you watched my unboxing video from last week you'll know I bought to replace a 2017 MacBook Pro. This 2017 MacBook Pro to be exact. So I'm not comparing the MacBook Air to some obsolete laptop that was about to die. My MacBook Pro was a laptop that I used for 3 years, day in, day out, to do work for university, everyday browsing and editing videos for this channel. So in the week that I've had it, has this M1 MacBook Air reassured me that it's been a worthwhile investment? If you're interested in the price and technical specifications of this MacBook Air, I'd recommend you check out my unboxing video from a week ago. But first week impressions. So if we're talking first impressions, something that I noticed the moment I took the new M1 MacBook Air out of its box was the charger. I mean, just to show you for comparison, this is the charger that came with my 2017 MacBook Pro. And this was what came with the M1 MacBook Air. So 3 years ago, you got this 61 watt power adapter, whereas what you get with the M1 MacBook Air is a 30 watt power adapter. And in case you're thinking there might be some sort of efficiency wizardry going on, sadly no, this is just a slower charger. I mean, this is something of a beast compared to what comes with the new M1 MacBook Air. So that was a little bit disappointing really. Now this won't be the last mention of charging in this video. The battery life of the MacBook Air is just been another surprising feature that I've got to experience over the last week, and I'll be talking more about that later. But before all of that, the actual setup of moving from the old Pro to the new Air was in general just a really good experience for me. I don't know about you, but whenever I change device, I always find the process a bit tedious and annoying trying to reconfigure all my settings to find my preferences. But what I was particularly impressed by was using the migration assistant, the built-in Apple feature where you update the new laptop to whatever the latest update is, get onto migration assistant, open up the same app on the old device, and it transfers not just all your files, documents and applications, but all of the preferences and settings that you've adjusted over the years, you know, things like how long you want to leave the display on for before it goes to sleep, and all the in-app settings. It transfers it all across, and it just saved me what could have been a lot of hassle really. It's like I said, it's one of the most tedious things that I find whenever I change device, but in the space of, it might have been 2 hours, just less, it transferred something like 150 gigabytes worth of stuff from the old laptop through to the new one, and I just love how Apple get their sort of user interface, their user experience so right. There was one potential moment where there could have been a hiccup in that setup process where I don't know if it's a problem that other people have had, but so I set up the migration assistant and it said starting up and it had some kind of like loading screen. So I just assumed that, oh, it's working now, and I left it to it. But when I went back after an hour or so, it still says starting up. I did a quick Google search to see if it's meant to be like that. Turns out no. And that apparently that can happen if you're not on the same Wi-Fi connection as the other laptop that you're transferring from. So just a word of advice for anyone. If your screen is staying starting up for ages, cancel whatever it's doing and just check that you're on the same Wi-Fi and then redo the migration assistant process. So with the setup and everything complete, I was really excited to get to using the MacBook Air over the course of the week because I'd seen and heard so much about the new M1 chip and how much of a game changer it was that I really wanted to see what effect it could have on my sort of week load. And one of the main things obviously that I do during the week is edit videos on Final Cut Pro for this channel. Now I've already said before, my 2017 MacBook Pro is a very capable laptop, but using Final Cut Pro and editing videos only in 1080p, it was something that was guaranteed to lead to you seeing drops in frame rate, and you'd always get the fan whirring away as the laptop heated up, whereas already with the new Air, you just don't get any of that. And the difference the new MacBook Air is already making is, it's already really apparent, because using Final Cut Pro is always really smooth. There are certain sort of functions like stabilizing video footage that it does, I'd say, more than twice as fast, and it exports all the files far quicker as well. I've only got positive things to say about actually using the MacBook Air over the past week. Any of my sort of normal work that I'd be doing just doesn't break a sweat for any of it. So I had a teaching session in hospital. It's something that, it's usually in person. If you're in hospital, you just go to the lecture theatre. But they also say you can join the session via Microsoft Teams. So I thought I'd just fire up Microsoft Teams, join in the teaching session, open up some PowerPoint tabs, open up my university portal, and as well as that, just play some videos on YouTube in the background as well. And again, without having a fan and without ever feeling anything heating up, you just get the sense that nothing will make this laptop break a sweat. That was a fairly unrealistic representation of the kind of studying and work that I'm going to be using it for in terms of actual university studies. But what I have found is that when I fire up things like Microsoft Word and Excel, quite long documents with tables and graphs, it's all instantaneous and it's super smooth to actually scroll through all the pages for. There's never any sort of buffering or loading. It has been, even having read all the reviews and everything, it still surprised me. I've just never had a laptop behave as this new MacBook Air has behaved. I said I'd touch on sort of charging and battery life again in this video. So I've read in places that the thing can go like days without a charge, which is true if when you do use it, it's only for a couple of hours and it's just like casual browsing. I found that when you do sit down to actually use the laptop to edit a video and then export the thing and go through all of that process, I would find that the charge would drop sufficiently enough in the space of a few hours to warrant charging it up again. But in fairness, when I was actually doing that bit of video editing, the laptop wasn't fully charged to begin with, and I'm very confident that, say you had a full charge and you wanted to do some video editing on the go, the MacBook Air would comfortably be able to do that without the need to take a charger with you. So I'm not really one for doing an official battery life tester on it as such. But it still bothers me that they've given such a small power adapter as the charger for it, because it's gonna take far longer to charge up eventually, isn't it? So if I was to summarise what I've got here, it's a laptop that does everything that my old laptop does, and it does it smoother, quicker. I never have to worry about the sound of a fan whirring away, making me think that the thing could explode at any moment. And it's got a better battery life as well. And really the only grievance that I have is that smaller power adapter that you get given now. But other than that, 100%, this could well just be the perfect laptop for me and the kind of work that it is that I'm doing. Maybe at some point, if I end up moving on to 4K video editing, that might change. But for now, I'll say it's just the perfect laptop for everything that it is that I'm doing at the moment. So that's pretty much it for this video. I have no doubt that I'll probably be back on the channel with further updates on how I get on with the M1 MacBook Air. For now, I think I'm getting on with reboxing the old MacBook Pro and selling that on for now. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please do leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content. There are plenty of videos in the pipeline on more things like study tips and advice for people looking to get into med school and people currently in medical school as well. So I'll see you next time and take care.